The stock market continues its rally back towards all-time highs as a government shutdown deal appears to be approaching as we speak. It seems like big money was buying that entire dip there we got on Friday, and as we went back into that video, it's important to understand the massive levels that we needed to reclaim, which was our previous all-time highs right here. I've said it time and time again, this is your most important level on NASDAQ futures, 25,400, and it's important that we understand why these levels are so key and also what's happening with the government shutdown as far as fundamentals are concerned. So we have a lot to unpack. Let's get right into it. Now, what you saw over the weekend, basically going from Sunday into this morning, is that the government was officially starting that process. It started passing the Senate. Now it's going to the House and then ultimately to the president to see if we can actually get this shutdown ended. As obviously TSA was taking effect, we started seeing SNAP benefits. Potentially they were supposed to get stopped, but then obviously Trump stepped in. So important, or not Trump, the Supreme Court, not Trump. Trump did not step in. Very important to understand that, what's all taking place and what's happening there. The other thing to understand is what's happening out of Michael Burry. Now, I don't really think this is the most important thing, and I've already addressed Michael Burry going short on Palantir and Nvidia, but he's kind of awoken on Twitter. And so you see him going into detail about what's happening with some of these large cap names and how they're actually overestimating their earnings and that they're almost committing fraud, in his words, around what they're doing with their earnings and the overall income that they're bringing in there. So pretty overall sketchy. And again, he went into Palantir over the weekend as well, basically roasting the CEO. So we have a lot to unpack and what we're going to be doing. But before we go too far in the video and before we do anything, I want to get the sponsorship stuff out of the way. The only sponsorship here is your boy L. Tyler, right? So again, as you look at what's happening, if you want to see what we're trading, how we're trading all day, every day, the Discord link is down below. Every morning I start with a futures rundown so you know what to look for the upside and the downside. Surprisingly on the day, most of my trading came to the downside, right? Until we started bouncing back to the upside. Now I'm kind of looking for a breakout. But as you can see, we were trading to the upside. We looked for the rejection around 25.65 right there, which is ultimately where we rejected here on NASDAQ. As you can see, the 15-minute, we opened up, rejected back down. We traded to the downside. But again, you get to go into all of our trades, and today was a lot of scalps. As you can see, we had Nvidia to the upside, we had AMD to the upside, and we also had futures all the way back down is where we were trading those. That's all that really happened. So again, the profits are there. Do what you got to do. Link is down below. Let's get to the video. Now, as we're looking at this, guys, again, I want to focus a little bit on futures. I know I'll go into SPY, I'll go into Qs as well, and showing you the levels, what to look at, etc. But I think futures have exact levels that you have to be watching. So I know a lot of you guys don't like futures as much, but it's very, very key. Now, the biggest thing I do want to talk about is this red line right here. And again, we had a great reaction to it early, last night as futures opened, as we had that deal being kind of announced and, going through the Senate, going now to the House, right? You saw obviously the market find a lot of buyers shooting us back towards 25.4, mounting that and basically moving all up in the pre-market. Now, since market has opened, you haven't got too much continuation. I do want to say that right now. When you look at NASDAQ and how we've moved, basically markets opened up right about here, 830. You moved straight up into the resistance and we kind of broke down, bouncing back up, going, kind of just going back and forth as we speak, sitting near VWAP as well, getting back over that. Really good to see, but we want to see more continuation. Now, for me, again, going into this, going into tomorrow, going into the remainder of this week, again, the next big level of what we're really looking to see here is getting the push ultimately towards 25.8. 25.85. That's going to be the critical level that we have to be watching. Okay. Again, there's two big levels right now, 25.4, 25.87. Now, why is this one critical? Again, this was critical for your downside being your support. That's why that one was. But if we get above 25.87, in my personal opinion, it is setting you up to break into all-time highs. Again, it sounds crazy, but if you go out and you just quickly get rid of all the drawings and you look here, again, this is your line in the sand. It is clear as day that this is where you are rejecting from right here, 25.87, these little lows, line in the sand there. You start mounting this, you are pushing back towards highs. And again, if you bring that up, what you can quickly see, we'll quickly just get rid of these drawings and just do this real quick so you can see right there. So again, just roughly right there at that level. Again, you start breaking back above this, you're actually breaking the structure, you're making a higher high, you're getting in the structure and you're pushing back in highs. Very, very strong behavior. Okay. Very important to understand that. Now with ES, the S&P futures. Okay. Let's actually go back really quick so I don't forget to redraw all those lines on there. So I don't lose my mind. Going into ES here. Very important to see what's happening here. Now, again, what you want to see is you're actually at the spot right now, respectively, again, as you can see right here, let's get rid of all those. Go into here real quick. As you guys can see right there. So it's roughly right here about 68.50. If you can start breaking above this, again, you're making a higher high and you're pushing back out of this downtrend. So again, you can see how this is really developed on the downside there. It's not rocket science. You can see how we've just basically just trended on the downside, right? So clearly things are shifting. Clearly things are changing, as you can see. So what you would like to see is getting above this, which you're about to test right now, retest, and then ultimately pushing back up, finding volume on the retest here to really push us back into highs. Again, it's ultimately really good action of what you're seeing. It makes sense that you're hitting a little bit of a roadblock here, but I want to see NASDAQ heat up right now. We want to see NASDAQ find some buyers, okay? Now, where we saw most of the weakness today actually was on the Dow. The Dow has probably the longest way to go. So the Dow all morning, bright and early, this is what really was holding us back. You came into resistance 47.3, rejected right down. So again, now you're finding buyers, trying to break out. You look good. Yay, you look so good. Okay. Now, SPY, QQQ, what's happening here? Again, your levels are really clear. If you need to, mark them out, go for it. Again, really quick, let's actually go back. Keep forgetting on ES. I want to make sure it's all there for us. But again, going into SPY and QQQ, just take a screenshot so you have all the levels. I don't care. Pause the video, do what you got to do, write them down. But again, you're holding, bouncing on all of our levels, right? You came to 675.8. As you go to the 15-minute intraday, guess what happened? When you dipped, you came right down to our level, even though you're in the middle of a gap. That is why the levels are key. That's why we watch them. That's why, again, I think they're just so valuable when it comes to our trading. So again, you bounce our level, you're bouncing back up, targeting around 682. You're also coming into your little previous highs here, but you also have a gap fill into 682. So definitely watching this level up here, why that is so key. Now, right now, I'm more focused on QQQ. I actually just posted this in Discord. Do what you got to do here if you're interested. But again, you're looking at that break above 622. If you can get the break and retest of this, you're looking for 624. You have the gap fill into 623. So you look really good. The key level, though, is 624. Worth mentioning there. Our support down here is all the way down at 613. But ultimately, you can see, again, that goes all the way back here as well. I can grab that little level right here. Let me grab it. Goes right about there. So you can see how that's playing out. And this is all just kind of like a zone of a massive level, right? So again, you're holding here. You look really good on QQQ. You look really good on NASDAQ futures overall. You're finding buyers. Now, the question, it really comes back down to the government shutdown. Okay. Does this continue to pass in the House? Does it, make it to the president? Does the shutdown actually end? Or is this just like, like where are we at? Like we got to actually see this thing come to an end. I'm going to tell you right now. Okay. Again, people are like, well, Tyler, that's very back both sides. Okay. But I'm going to tell you right now, you cannot predict what is happening with the market, with the Senate, the House, all these people are bullish, bearish, whatever, right? You cannot predict if the government shutdown is going to end. If anyone's telling you that, I think they're liars. Maybe they have inside information. If you do, call me, please. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not in the game of predicting these types of things. So I'm telling you right now, until the government shutdown is actually ended, we see Donald Trump confirm it, sign the paper. Okay. Keep your head on a swivel, because if it ends, I told you guys on Twitter, you're going to see sellers get aggressive. Again, I'm not bearish right here. I'm not. But again, as you look here, I'm telling you, if it goes negative, you're going to see sellers get very, very aggressive. Personal opinion, what I'm watching, why I'm watching it. Make sure you're paying attention. There's not too much else to really cover here with the government shutdown. I'm gonna tell you right now. Okay. Now, the other thing with Michael Burry and talking about this, again, this is more of a separate, direct video that I have to make on this, but it's worth mentioning. You can go to his Twitter account, read all about it. This is the guy, the Big Short guy. I already have people in my life that are messaging me, texting me hey, Tyler, what do you think? What do you think about Michael Burry going short? I'm like, dude, I don't care. What do you think? What do you think about him going short last year? Oh, he went short last year. I'm like, yes, you weren't paying any attention. So now you care, but whatever. So again, this isn't the sole focus of my trading. It's not, it's just something worth mentioning, worth watching. And I would take note of some of the stuff he's saying, as you won't really know these things to be true or to really be a net negative on the market until earnings start coming out and, implying this. But until then, it's kind of worth mentioning. So it's just, read the news, do what you want to do with it. But yeah, I do think if any of the companies probably overvalued, it's going to be Palantir. But again, as long as Palantir keeps reporting great earnings, they're not going to dump. I'm just telling you right now, they're not going to dump. So be very careful. Okay. Now, going into the market of trades I like, and I'm going to show you more setups, and you're already getting the QQQ. Discord. Hey, you're eating while I'm printing, dare I say. This is what you like to see. Now, going into some of the trades of what we're looking for, and I'm going to see that movement, see that back to the upside. Top stock, stop trades. Let's dive in. Now, let's start with semis. This is our golden goose, our golden egg, right? She just keeps on keeping on for us. AMD. Probably easiest trade on the day for me so far. Again, AMD got above this morning, 243. Once above that, you targeted in 247, 248. You all ran almost in a 249, a little above and beyond action, but that was a good trade there. Coming back into it, bouncing back up. I'd be watching AMD like a hawk. So far, you are bouncing essentially perfect. Like, you can't make it up, to be totally honest. So again, let's go to like the higher time for like the 4 hours so you can see. So again, our big level we were watching is 227.3. If you don't know, that's your previous all-time high from 2024 right there. So you're obviously mounting that level there that we saw, and now you're getting back above these levels as well. Back above 247, 248, in my opinion, you were looking for the gap fill all the way into 256, 255. I'd love to see it. I'm very bullish on AMD. It looks very, very good. And it's turning into one of the top semis. Like, who would have thought? Advanced Money Destroyer, Advanced Money Printer, same thing. Let's change the name of the company though, right? We need AMP. That sounds a lot better than AMD. So again, that's where we're at right now. I'm not talking Kai Cenat. Now a bit further, we're going into NVIDIA. NVIDIA, this is really what you want to see. I had to mark out this intraday level as a level, but again, we talked about this one as well. So NVIDIA getting back above your 195.5 is very key. We saw that one push. We actually rejected the level that I mentioned. You came back down and now you're trying to get back up. In my opinion, NVIDIA's you don't have really any liquidity up here. What do I mean by that? So you see how we drop very fast. It means you can go up just as fast, if not quicker. But you can see if we pull up like a VRVP, again, we have videos on this as well. We pull this back here. There's not as much liquidity in this area, meaning there's not enough sellers, not very many buyers. So that means you can move through this very fast. How we just cut up, cut down. You see fast drops, fast pumps. That's what you're looking for there. So above 195.5, targeting 207, 201. Above there, you're looking towards 207. You have that gap fill as well. I still think NVIDIA is a great company, if not the best company at scratch it. It is the best company in the market, in my opinion. They're printing money and they're just planning on printing more money. So great to see. NVIDIA, absolute unit. Netflix, be very careful. Again, I've been telling you guys, the weaker name in the market is probably Netflix. Still rejecting the 200 SMA, need to get above that. Above the 200 SMA, you don't look bad, but until then, I'm steering clear. If anything, this is a downside name. This is a short trade until you can actually get the mount above that level. That's what I'd be watching, what I'd be tracking there. Crystal clear. If you have any questions, let me know. TSM also looks good back above 295. I'd be looking at this. Confirmation back above 296. We saw like this little rejection there, so I was watching it. Not a big level, but I'd be watching. But above 295, as you can see here, we've been finding buyers. If you go back even further, you can see all these buyers back here. Found a lot of bounce, and we always move back towards 300. So if we hold 295, 296, what are we looking for? We're looking for that push into 300. There might be some semis that I'm missing, but that's all I'm going to cover in there today. One of my big names that I wanted to trade today, but I just never got the entry opportunity was Amazon. So you actually got that break to start the day and then you just rejected back under. If Amazon can get back above 250.4, I think it's a great overall trade. I have my arrows pointed there so you can see. But again, you get back above this and hold, you have nothing until basically 254, 253.5. So I think Amazon's still a solid trade. Until then, trade the range, do your levels, whatever you gotta do. Take a screenshot, take a picture. I don't care, but that's what you're looking at there. Don't overcomplicate it, okay? Very simple, very easy to see. Tesla, very simple also. Again, above 439, you're bullish. Below that, you're looking for 425, 426. You came to the 50 MA, you bounced. Good overall. Again, as long as you're above 445 is a little bit of a median level here. You still look pretty strong. I would like to see us get back towards 457. Above 457, you look really good. So again, what we're watching there as well. Eli Lilly, LLY. Again, it was funny. This name was in shambles and now it's back. Pretty wild, to be honest. Eli Lilly. So you look at this range here. Again, it's traded down here, but again, you broke back above 200. Golden Cross, all-time highs. If you mount above of basically 968, you're in price discovery and you're looking for $1,000. In my personal opinion, nice round level. What you have to be looking for there. How I'm attacking this, what I'd be watching. Very strong name. Everyone's asking about UNH. UNH, I mean, I'm not as big of a fan here. You're just breaking some levels I've been watching. So I would steer clear, maybe buy to the gap fill if you get it. I don't know. I'm not doing anything here with UNH right now. We'll see. But I think the clear winner when it comes to healthcare names is Eli Lilly for me. What I'd be watching, what I'd be tracking, etc. So if you have any questions, let me know. Again, what we're looking at there. Microsoft, not super interesting. Holding our key level like we mentioned down here near like 492, 493. Got back above 498, 500. Looks good. Looking for the 50 MA near 514. As long as you can stay above 498, what you're looking at there. You're also seeing Bitcoin names find some buyers as well, but Bitcoin is still important to understand. You are still below your big level of around 108,000, 109,000, the 200 SMA. You're still on the on the verge of getting that death cross there as well. So we'll see what happens. Worth mentioning, our last death cross was back here and you were bouncing out of it. So worth mentioning. I would also, when it comes to crypto, I'd be watching more of what's happening with the stock market, because the stock market looks very bullish, then I think crypto will follow the stock market. Personal opinion, don't attack me. I think crypto follows stocks. That's a personal opinion. So, keep track of that. Do what you got to do there. I'm not going to look at cheaper names in this video. If you want to see the cheaper names, make sure you watch the other videos. But I will cover Palantir. So Palantir is very interesting when we look at what's happening here as a stock. Again, your biggest levels, look how you're bouncing. You had your 50 MA right there. But your big levels down at 170, 169, you bounce to the tick off that level. You get back above 176, and you're off to the races from there as you're bouncing back above your previous all-time high, 189.5. I've made it very clear, I think I've made it abundantly clear, that Palantir above 189.5 is a massive, massive long. You actually got to retest this, and honestly, I just missed it on the day, which sucks, because I totally would have taken this long. That retest here was key. You bounced right off it, and you ended up bouncing around $4 or $5. Looking for that move back towards 199, 200. You'd love to see it. Only thing I'm kind of worried about is, like, does the market react to what Birdie's saying? I don't think so, but worth mentioning, worth tracking. So again, what we're looking at there. A few of the other names, Walmart, I'm only going into this because, again, what's happening with stat benefits was definitely negatively affecting it. It's still holding $100, bouncing back above the 50 MA, looking for 105, maybe even higher. Going into Costco, again, very weak right now at basically lows. Not looking to do too much with that. These are my top names, what I'm watching, how I'm trading. No reason to overcomplicate this. Again, it's ultimately what I'm looking at right now. Apple's just chilling at highs. There's nothing really to update you here with this, so I'm sorry if I didn't cover anything with it. So I just want to make that clear. I also recommend, guys, if you want to see more information intraday, I recommend following us on Twitter. We get all the updates, charts we're posting there as well. Lyft is an interesting setup as well. But some of the other stuff we're always posting in there as far as what we're looking at with futures, all the setups, everything in between. Have a good one, traders. See you in the next video.